And please don't forget, if this story does bring up something for you, you can call Lifeline 13 11 14, the same as the Kids Helpline, 1800 55 1800. Location, Israel. Date, October 6, 2023. Things were ordinary, very much the same as every other day for Israelis. People living in one of the happiest places on the planet, according to recent statistics, were just going about their every day. Over in the Gaza Strip, things weren't any different to usual. Palestinians are going about their everyday lives, trying to live the best they can with what they had. Things were far from perfect. The air felt tense, but it was the norm. Missile sirens blare throughout parts of Israel, the country's Iron Dome in use on the daily. Rockets sent back into Gaza the same day in, day out. Fast forward 24 hours and everything would fall apart. Hamas would launch a surprise terrorist attack against the people of Israel. Over 1,500 would be brutally murdered, raped and tortured. Then war would be declared, the Prime Minister vowing to destroy Hamas.
Israel will win this war no matter what. We must destroy the remaining Hamas battalions in Rafah.
Tens of thousands would then be killed. An act of war that will never be forgiven or forgotten by anyone. Why is it that innocent people have to die? Global citizens would ponder. Hit fast forward and land ourselves in March 2024. And you'd see people marching, people angry, people are outraged that the Israeli government had gone too far. Massacre, terrorism, suffering, famine, all words that would be screamed by emotional protesters. All words that would accurately depict a war of this magnitude. April 2nd, 2024. Location, Australia. The country would mourn the loss of one of their own in a country so far, far away. Reports would flood in.
It has just been confirmed an Australian woman is one of 4 aid workers who have been killed in an Israeli airstrike in Gaza.
If you're not already heartbroken by what I've just told you, maybe this will. An anonymous Australian Palestinian whose heart bleeds for both sides. When I was 12, Palestine was in the news because of the heightened fatal attacks that were occurring, which left thousands of Palestinians dead. I remember it being talked about at school, hearing the discussions in the news and seeing my mother deal with a surge of racism from others as we were Palestinians. One woman in particular, a mum of one of my friends, told my mother again and again that she didn't have a country and reiterated how gleeful she was that Palestine was under attack. I had always seen myself as an Australian like everyone else. This was the first time I could recall feeling like an outsider. One moment in particular that shaped how I saw myself was when this celebrity and public figure went on a rant about how Palestinians deserved to be wiped out, and then proceeded to mock other celebrities for wishing that Palestinians had peace. What made that horrible experience so much worse was reading comments and comments about how legendary and epic the rant was and how innocent Palestinians dying was hilarious. I saw no one call the person out. Coming to terms with the fact that so many people wanted me to die was something that changed the way I saw myself forever. It would be many years before I would be comfortable with myself. For the next few years, my stomach would drop every time Palestine was brought up. I was so scared of what people would say. I feared that deep down everyone was like those commenters and would hate me if they found out I was Palestinian. Because it's not just about what they say, it's just as much about what they don't say. What were they thinking? Did they think my life had less meaning? It was so dehumanising hearing others debate or be neutral about whether what was happening was okay or not, as though politics could justify so much bloodshed. I carried this shame with me for so long, until 2021, when seemingly out of nowhere Palestine hit the news in a big way. However, this time it was different. I was seeing people standing up and saying that innocent civilians did not deserve to die. The people I knew were all posting supportive messages for Palestine. I still remember my sister and I both having this realisation together that people actually cared. It was the first time we felt it in our lives. People cared about us. They saw us. And even though, yes, in the grand scheme of things, Instagram stories and Facebook posts won't heal everything, it did heal that little part of me that had been broken since I was 12. Even just knowing that those specific people were safe to talk to meant everything. I wish I could say that this is where the story ended. But even with this confidence, I still found it hard to speak up and find my voice. Saying I was Palestinian and then actually using my privilege as one of the safe Palestinians to cause change were two completely different challenges to face. Last year at university, after an Aboriginal film committee rejected my wishes to get involved, citing that I was not the correct person to be telling those stories, my lecturer pulled me aside and encouragingly said, "See, this might not be your story to tell, but being Palestinian, that is your story to tell," and encouraging me to have my final assignment be centred around my experience and my family's history of escaping war. I said I'd think about it, but in my head, I was just thinking, you have no idea how much harder it is to back something, knowing that if the people are talking, they're talking about you. It's insane that the very assertion that innocent people deserve life is this much of a politicised topic, but it was, and I was not unaware of how I could be risking my safety. I see that hate and racism is sadly all too alive in this world again and again. In 2022, Kanye West went on a disgraceful rant against Jewish people and supported the Holocaust, causing a rise in anti-Semitism. I knew as soon as I saw that clip that a whole new generation of young Jewish people would now be experiencing the same feeling that I had when I was 12. I imagined a 12-year-old boy walking through school not knowing what others would be thinking of him, or wondering if his friends thought Kanye's rant was cool or awesome. Last year, I attended a TED Talk where I heard the story of a man who had evacuated the Ukraine war, and I felt my heart drop as I heard his escape story that was eerily similar to the stories that my family held. Not too long ago, a video emerged of ex-Obama advisor Stuart Soldovich, who was in charge of Israel and Palestinian affairs, saying that the death of 4,000 Palestinian children in Gaza wasn't enough. When October 7 happened, I was horrified at what took place. What followed was a dreadful feeling that what was going to happen next was going to be very bad. I knew that the parties responsible for the attack would not be the ones held responsible, and that rather innocent Palestinians and Jewish people would be the ones paying the price. And I was sadly correct. I've seen the death toll of Palestine skyrocket. I've seen the rates of anti-Semitism skyrocket. Things like people taking to the streets to chant, "Gas the Jews," or others looking at dead Palestinians and celebrating are becoming all too normalised, and I couldn't be more disgusted by it all. It's moments like these that we all have become so accustomed to that shape the way I see myself and my place in this world. It's becoming more common within my social circles and my workplace to check in with each other, making sure that any Jewish or Palestinian friends and co-workers are coping okay. I guess that encapsulates what it means to be a Perth-Palestinian. I am so much more privileged than a large amount of my people. I am so thankful for the life I have and think about how lucky I am every day. I get to go pursue my dream job, meet up with my friends, and then come home to my loving family. However, I will always carry this sadness with me. If I could say one more thing to the public, it would be this. Don't lose sight of humanity. The ones suffering the most in this genocide are innocent people. People like you and I who want nothing more than to wake up, be with their families, see their friends and pursue their dreams. There is such a massive human cost to this. Do not turn a blind eye to the suffering that people on October 7 faced, or the suffering that is taking place in Gaza right now. I've seen people become so enraged that they claim they don't care if innocent people on the other side die, even children, because they had it coming, or were probably doomed to join XYZ terrorist group anyways. When we normalise collective punishment and allow ourselves to dismiss human suffering and children dying based on prejudices we hold of their race or nationality, we plant the seeds of history to repeat itself. Nobody deserves to die for their race or nationality. Check in on your Jewish and Palestinian friends and co-workers and call out racism and genocide when you see it, and never let anything distract you from the fact innocent people are dying.
We are stronger when we communicate our feelings. Don't be afraid to seek help. You can call Lifeline on 13 11 14 or the Kids Helpline on 1800 55 1800.
I'm standing with you tonight.
You can get through this. We love you.
19 away from 3. There you go. That's our package from earlier today. I do genuinely believe now that the Israeli government are going too far, and I've maintained that viewpoint for a few weeks now. I've also maintained the viewpoint that Israel's directives as a government have been all over the shop, and that is partly the reason as to why so many people are dying. And again, we heard earlier today an Australian aid worker has passed away after being struck on alongside 3 of her colleagues whilst delivering aid to Palestinians in the central Gaza Strip. An awful situation. Tens of thousands of Palestinians now dead as a result of this. We've seen just under 2,000 Israelis dead after the October 7 terror attack. So people are dying, and as this anonymous Perth-Palestinian said in her letter, the people who actually perpetrated the October 7 attacks or led them won't be held responsible. The people that will be held responsible are those that are being killed as we speak. The innocent children, mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, uncles. They're being killed. They're innocent. They've done nothing. Yet they're the ones paying the price for Hamas's terrorist attack on October 7. It's 18 minutes away from 3 o'clock.
Made by youth, for youth, this is Youth Jam with Isaac.